This is the DJI Osmo Action. It's more than 2 years old by now, but in many ways, it's still the best action camera you can buy for vlogging. But a camera is just one piece of the whole vlogging puzzle. In this video, I'm gonna talk about my top 5 accessories for the DJI Osmo Action that will make you a better vlogger. Hi everyone, welcome to another Tech Talk with Samir, where I talk about anything and everything related to technology in my life. If this is the first time you're coming across one of my videos, well, you're not alone. At this moment, it's a very small channel and I need your help to grow it. So please subscribe and help me grow this thing. Speaking of being a small channel, so far the most popular video on my channel has been a video where I talk about the DJI Osmo Action. I talk about how it fares as a vlogging camera in 2021. I also go on to talk about my vlogging gear journey to eventually end up with the Osmo Action as my primary vlogging camera. It's been more than 2 years since DJI released this camera and I still think it's the absolute best action camera you can get today. Not just for vlogging, but even in general. And no, I'm not a GoPro hater. It's just that when it comes to the value and performance, the Osmo Action hits the sweet spot. It wasn't always that way though. The Osmo Action is one of those rare techs that have gotten better over time. I think it's because DJI released it prematurely 2 years ago and they only got around to fine-tuning it after its release. Initially there was a lot of little bugs, including an annoying delay on the screen. But over time with firmware updates, they've not only managed to fix all the bugs, but also added a whole lot of features and improvements to make it what I believe is the best action camera in the market. Because of these improvements, over time it has become my primary camera for making travel vlogs. If you're interested in knowing about how I eventually ended up with the Osmo Action, check out the last video I made about the camera where I talk about my journey to get to this camera. As the camera matured over the last couple of years, more and more accessories have come out to make the experience better for a wider range of use cases. So here's my list of top 5 accessories to pair with the DJI Osmo Action. Note that these are not in any particular order and they all add value in their own way. Also, some of these are applicable to other action cams as well, so regardless of what camera you have, you may still find this helpful. The first accessory I want to talk about is the Manfrotto Pixi mini tripod. Now this thing is a great little tool. It mainly serves two purposes. It can be used as a small tripod to set the camera on different surfaces. It can also be used as a selfie stick when you close it up. Personally, I'm not a big fan of using full-size tripods because of how much of a hassle they can be to carry and set up, but this particular one literally fits in your pocket and doesn't require any setting up. With the Osmo Action being so tiny, the last thing you want is to have large accessories. That defeats the whole purpose. One of my favorite things to do with the Osmo Action is to create time lapses for B-roll. With this tripod, if I come across a really nice sunset along a hike, it's really convenient to quickly set it down to capture it. They do have a slightly larger Manfrotto Pixi Evo tripod, and I have that one too. But when it comes to pairing with an action cam, I think this mini version is the best one. It's really easy to adjust the ball head with just the press of a button, whereas on the bigger one, you have to twist the knob, adjust, and then twist it back. And although both of them are quite compact, the slight difference in size makes a huge difference when you pair it with a tiny camera like the Osmo Action. To attach the camera to a tripod, you do need to get a small tripod mount. I got this red aluminum one. It's durable and it looks cool. Usually these types of mounts are made of plastic, so this one stood out when I was shopping around. By the way, I'll leave Amazon affiliate links to everything I mentioned in the description of this video if you're interested in getting any of these for yourself. The second accessory in my top 5 is the Sainova microphone adapter for the Osmo Action. I think Sainova is a separate company that just happens to make a great microphone adapter. And instead of DJI making their own adapter, they just decided to market this adapter as the official one for the Osmo Action. To be honest, I don't blame them. This one is a really well designed device. When I first got the Osmo Action, they didn't have any options for connecting an external mic. Even though it has an USB-C port, a typical USB-C to 3.5mm adapter for a different device wouldn't work on the Osmo Action. Even DJI's own Osmo Pocket mic adapter didn't work for the Osmo Action. But remember how I said this device only got better over time? This adapter was one of the reasons. If you look back at the initial reviews of the Osmo Action from when it was first released, one of the complaints that many people had was the lack of a mic input. But once this adapter was released, those complaints were gone. The reason why I'm a big fan of this adapter is how well it integrates with the body of the Osmo Action. To connect it, you take off the little door where the USB-C port is and you plug it right into there. It even has an USB-C pass-through port on the adapter, so you can still charge the device while having the adapter plugged in. The only thing to be aware of is that it's really easy to misplace the little door for the USB-C port. Without it, you'll lose the waterproofing of the camera, so just be mindful of that. Now, this is where I make my first comparison with the GoPro. GoPro has had microphone adapters for years, but the issue with their mic adapter is that the bulk of the device hangs off the GoPro. I've seen some people build out rigs to accommodate for the mic adapter. So in contrast, the mic adapter for the Osmo Action is very well designed, and it's a great accessory for anyone who plans on using the Osmo Action as a vlogging camera. Naturally, the next device on my top 5 list is a compact shotgun mic. I've generally been quite happy with the sound quality of the Osmo Action's built-in mic. In fact, majority of the time, that's what I use since it's the most convenient and compact solution. That being said, there are times when the built-in mic isn't exactly ideal. The built-in mic is omnidirectional, so what that means is that it picks up sounds from all directions, which sounds great in theory, but when you're in a noisy environment, it's hard for it to distinguish your voice from the environment. It's also an issue in windy environments. It has some wind reduction features, but if that's turned on, it will also distort your voice. Because of these situations, I sometimes use a small shotgun mic to make the audio directional. So instead of picking up sounds from all directions, it will only pick up sounds from wherever the mic is pointed. The specific shotgun mic that I have is the Rode Video Micro. It's a compact mic that doesn't require a battery and works very well with the Sainova Mic Adapter. It also comes with a dead cat, and that helps reduce wind noise. Although adding the dead cat significantly increases the size of the mic, it's something you'd probably want to have on at all times because of how sensitive the mic is to wind noise. I found that out the hard way. With the Rode Video Micro, the only downside is that if you're flipping from filming yourself to filming something in front of you, it's a bit of a hassle to have the mic pick up your voice in both situations. Ideally, you should be flipping the direction of the mic as well. Most vloggers typically just ignore that and live with the muffled voice when the mic is pointed away from them, but I find that annoying. This is partially the reason why I tend to use the Osmo Action's built-in mic whenever possible. That being said, there's a mic out there from a company called DJI, and that one actually has 2 mics within it. It's the DJI D4 Duo, and it looks quite interesting. It has one mic facing the front and one mic facing the back, and there's a small switch on it to toggle between using a single mic and using both. Although I haven't personally used it, it does look very promising. The one downside to this mic is that if you do use the bidirectional setting, it will record the audio from the 2 mics in 2 different channels, so you'd need to do some post-processing work to make it sound right. So that's something to consider if you're looking into that mic. There's also other options like the Rode Wireless Go, which is a wireless lav mic solution, but at that point you're spending more money on the audio than you are with the camera itself, so it's really not for everybody. I'm actually using one of those for this video. Right there. Hello, hello. The fourth accessory in my top 5 is the one thing that puts everything together, and it's the housing. Now the Osmo Action actually comes with a housing, and it's actually a great housing. It's very easy to take the camera in and out of the stock housing, and it's engineered perfectly to accommodate for all the buttons and ports on the camera. But the issue with the default housing is that the only utility it adds is the ability to mount the camera on any GoPro mounts. And that's great, but if you want to make use of all the other accessories I've mentioned in this video, you're gonna need something with a little more utility. And the one I got is made by a company called PGY Tech. What makes it special is that it has 2 cold shoe mounts. This allows you to add accessories like a microphone to the camera. Even the cutout on the side is sized perfectly to fit the Sainova microphone adapter. I personally only use 1 cold shoe mount at a time with just 1 microphone, but if you wanted to add a small video light to the other mount, it can accommodate for that as well. One small tip I have is that if you're using a mic like the Rode Video Micro with a dead cat attached, it's probably best to hook it up to the cold shoe on the side rather than the one on top. Otherwise, the dead cat gets in the field of view of the camera. After all, action cams have very wide field of view. A small complaint I have about this housing is that it's not exactly easy to take the camera in and out of the housing. It requires you to slide a piece of the housing out completely along the process. It's kind of annoying whenever I have to change batteries with this housing on. But given how useful this housing is otherwise, I've learned to live with that flaw. But if I'm in a situation where I'm not using any external accessories, I tend to stick with the default housing. Both the stock housing and the PGY Tech housing has a GoPro mount at the bottom. Regardless of which action camera you get, chances are that it's going to use a GoPro mount to make use of the wide range of GoPro accessories out there. The fifth and final accessory on my top 5 list is this battery charging case. The Osmo Action generally has good battery life. If I'm shooting in 1080p, it's rare that I end up using more than one battery with moderate amount of use on any given day. Of course, that will be reduced if you shoot in 4K at 60 frames per second. Regardless, when traveling, you would always want to carry more than one battery with you to have that peace of mind in case you run out in the middle of your day. I personally carry 3 batteries, and that's been more than enough for even my most action-packed travel days. However, carrying multiple batteries brings its own set of challenges, like making sure you have an organized way of carrying and keeping track of them, and a way to charge all of them at the end of the day. This charging case solves both problems. I actually have my batteries labeled with numbers. I always use them sequentially, so if I'm currently using battery number 1 and that one dies, I'll switch to battery number 2 and so on and so forth. This case lets me organize them in a single place in sequential order. That way I don't have to dig through my backpack to find the next battery. At the end of the day, when it's time to recharge the batteries, I just plug in a USB-C cable to the case and it charges all the batteries simultaneously. Typically when traveling after an action-packed day, you just want to set your devices to charge and get some rest to get ready for the next day. It's not ideal to have to charge one device at a time, so this battery case really takes care of that. It even has indicator lights in the front that shows you which batteries are fully charged and which ones are still charging. This was one of my first accessories along with the extra batteries when I first got the Osmo Action, and I highly recommend something like this for all Osmo Action owners. Remember guys, all these are just tools. Ultimately, your creativity is still what makes your videos special, but these accessories should make your life a little easier and add to the versatility of your camera. Let me know in the comments what your favorite action cam accessories are. Also, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button to help with the YouTube algorithm. It really goes a long way to have these videos be discovered by others. And also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already to stay tuned for my future videos. As always, stay safe and I'll see you again on the next one.